Massacre. 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 Don't you love it?
Yeah.
Are we on? Are we doing this? Hey there. What's happening? It's Massacre Radio, episode 52, right here on WKMA Cleveland and HD2 station. As always, I'm your host, Members Only Dave, and oh boy, do we have a treat for you today, because in just a few short moments, I will be joined by the man himself. You know him, you love him, the viral sensation, the White Barry White, Bo Daddy Harris. Him and his dulcet tones will get on the horn. This is easily a watershed moment for this radio program, by the way. Having him on is just incredible. And if you didn't know, Bo Daddy Harris is easily one of the best vocal talents of the 21st century. But hey, don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself. And he's multifaceted too. He's also done stand-up comedy for years. I'll ask him about all that and a whole lot more coming up. Let's light this candle and let it burn, baby. It's Massacre Radio. Come on.
You are listening to Massacre Radio.
What's happening, man? It's John Gruden.
Caitlin Clark.
Alec Baldwin.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
And you're listening to Massacre Radio with Members Only Dave.
Members Only Dave.
Members Only Dave.
I keep my HD2 dial locked on WKMA Cleveland.
Massacre Radio, baby.
An HD2 station.
Don't forget to eat your vegetables, kids.
You're goddamn right. You're listening to Massacre Radio on WKMA Cleveland and HD2 station. I think it's about high time I welcome in my guest on today's show, all the way from Louisville, Kentucky. He's an entertainer who's bolstered his career with relentless drive, breeding nostalgia with his unique storytelling. None other than Bo Daddy Harris. Bo Daddy, welcome to the program. It is an honor to be speaking with you.
Hey, glad to be with you and everybody else who's listening.
Before we get into it, I got to ask you, for the purposes of this conversation, do you have a shorthand for your name? Like, is it okay if I call you Bo or Bo Daddy, or do you have a preference?
You just call me Bo, you know. Yeah, Bo is fine.
So by all accounts, it seems like you've always known that you wanted to be a star someday. What can you tell me about the first instance or the first inkling you had as it pertains to that?
I was always big in songwriting and everything, and, you know, I always, you know, hey, maybe I can pitch my music to MTV, BET, you know, all that, because I was growing up when everything was real hot in the early 2000s, you know, where you had the TRL, you know, all that stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm starting out in songwriting, whatever, and maybe they take my idea, whatever. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. Other than that, it was just the Steve Harvey show and all that. You know, I'm like, well, shoot, that's kind of amazing. You know, I'm just watching TV, whatever, you know, but maybe I might be able to do that one day. And then once you start doing it more and more and you get that adrenaline from doing something, you know, like you did good on stage, you're like, man, I want more of this, and because it makes you feel good, you know, you do something positive, whatever.
I guess naturally I got to ask you, where did your love of music come from? Was it family who turned you on to particular artists, or did you find a lot of it on your own, or was it more instinctual maybe?
Be honest, at first, I didn't really like music because my grandma and my sisters were, whatever, they were blasting NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, whatever, you know. So I was like, oh, Lord, is this what music is? I don't want no association with this until, you know, I was going summer camp one day and I was listening, you know, different music they were playing, you know, going on field trips and all that. And I'm like, oh, man, they were playing Dr. Dre, Eve, you know, all that. That next year they said, well, you know, we got to listen to Radio Disney. I'm like, oh, Lord, no. So it was just listening all that music around that time. And then also being around my grandfather, he always played like polka music, Johnny Cash, Kenny Rogers, and I just fell in love with that stuff. But really, the inspiration to becoming like a recording artist, I didn't really, I didn't know anything about microphones and all that until I got out of high school back in 2009. So, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm digging all this.
If you're just joining me, my guest today on Massacre Radio is Bo Daddy Harris. Bo Daddy, I know your musical styles kind of go between R&B and country for the most part. Between those two genres, which do you feel fits your baritone voice the most and why?
I would say the R&B, because I really don't have to really force myself. And what I mean by that is with like the songwriting and all that, I just, I just let go. With country, I had to, force myself to, it's just different mentality. So with R&B, I can just be myself and everything like that. And I love singing R&B. I love singing country too, but I really love singing R&B and everything. And
well, let me go ahead and stop you right there because I do not want to forget to ask you, Bo Daddy, speaking of your voice, a couple more questions about it here. You've mentioned before about facing skepticism about whether your voice is, quote, real or a character. How do you handle those doubters, and what's maybe the funniest reaction that you've gotten live on stage?
He'd be in shock because, I'm 5'7", so they're like, they would think this come somebody from 6'5" or whatever, So I'm sorry, but that's a whole different package right there, Sometimes just dealing with all that, it might irritate you or whatever, but it's like those people don't even know you because I had people, every day in life, they kind of, they try to talk like me, whatever, and you're like, hey, welcome to the club, even the other talent starting out, doing comedy, because I started doing comedy before I got into doing music full time, and they were saying, oh man, we thought this was an act, we were waiting for you to crack and whatever, I said, well, you got the real deal, so.
Bo Daddy Harris is my guest today on Massacre Radio. Bo Daddy, they always say, remember the compliments and forget the insults. My question is, what was the best compliment you've ever received about either your voice, your comedy, or your music? Does anything stand out?
So when I was first starting out doing music, I would give out, sample CDs, promo CDs to, co-work, whatever. And these are like people who, are 60, 70 years old, whatever, in their 50s, whatever. People who really going to give you, the hard truth. I give a CD to them. They listen to it, they give me the real criticism, the hard truth and everything. And they say, man, you got something here, If you were living back in the 70s, 80s, whatever, you would have already been a megastar just off this one song, They were saying you just got to find your audience, and the guy was saying, his name was Mr. John, whatever, he's 70-something years old, whatever, and he said, if you play this in the black market, whatever, like the black pubs back in the day, whatever, you would have already made it big just off this one song. They just give it to me real, and you got to build up your confidence too.
And, that's one of the things that I like the most about your music is how your voice is the star of the show in every track. It's like another instrument, it really, really works well with your style.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Bo Daddy, I got to ask you about the ladies. Some of your songs, of course, they cover topics like women, dating, sex, very standard stuff. So what I want to know is, what are 3 ways, Bo Daddy Harris, that you like to charm a lady?
I really like to sit down, take a woman out, eat, get to know them, whatever, simple things, whatever, and not trying to be cushy, whatever. You take them out, whatever, they don't even speak, to you really. They just send you, a text while y'all eating, whatever. I'm like, I can't do that. They just get hooked to the deep voice, and you just gotta be yourself, whatever, You might do long distance, chat, whatever. Like lately, half the women I talk to, they don't even have an iPhone, so you can't do FaceTime.
So basically what you're saying is to just keep it simple and don't overthink things.
Yeah, you just got to keep it simple, and cause I'm laid back in general, so and I just like to keep things simple, got to follow the routine and everything, and it's like if you don't feel the connection there, don't force it. You know what I mean? You try to force it, and then the next time, down the road, it might become toxic and all that, and ain't gonna work out. And yeah, you don't need that drama.
Bo Daddy, I want to get back to your musical influences, especially as it pertains to rap. I know in the past you've mentioned your love for Southern rap and Houston rappers. You always cite Pimp C and Z-Ro, but Houston rap and Southern rap in general just has such a deep history. Why no love for Mike Jones or Riff Raff or the Ghetto Boys, Gangsta Nip? I mean, why only mention those two?
I listen to all of them. Last night I was listening to Bonnie Boys. I know all the names, the whole screwed up clique. Z-Ro, I picked up on Z-Ro right when I graduated from high school, like maybe a year or two after I graduated high school. And I just really felt connected to his music, because a lot of his, older music was, kind of dark, whatever, and I just like how he put all his stuff together. I don't know how many songs I wrote to just his music alone, probably a whole tons.
And on that note, I'm going to take a brief time out and be back with more from my guest, Bo Daddy Harris, after this. Massacre Radio. A continuación, te di una paliza en la cama. Incluso te llamo por nombres de otros hombres en la cama. Y ahora quiere que le corras unas gran cantidad de semen dentro. ¿Y qué va a hacer? ¿Vas a entrar o a salir? La clave para desarrollar tu potencial y mucho más. Próximamente en WKMA Cleveland, una estación HD2.
In 1968, Nick Joey joined the Army.
I won't let you down, Mama.
Make us proud, son.
1 year later, he got sent to Vietnam.
Now when we get down there, we're gonna kick some ass, all right?
He served for 5 years until one day, he was captured.
You pieces of shit don't even know what's coming for you. My boys are already on the way. You're toast.
He stayed for the next 50 years. But you see, there's a catch. While captured, he was injected with an experimental serum. A luminous blue dye that can only be seen under a black light that not only de-ages him, but imprints a faint yet painful retinal image.
Not only do my eyes hurt, but I could turn into a baby at any second.
52 years later, the serum is still coursing through his veins, and he's pissed off.
I'm gonna get these bastards back for what they did to my eyes.
The only thing that kills the flare instantly is an OLED calibrated to 4,000 nits with perfect black levels.
Are you telling me the only thing that can cure you is watching 4K Blu-rays?
You're goddamn right.
He's not just a cinephile, he's a man who needs 4K Blu-rays. Because if he doesn't keep collecting, his cells start dividing in fast reverse, and he loses another year in just days.
Mentally, I'm 83, but if I don't get some 4K Blu-rays soon, I'll be 9.
His holy grail is out there. He just hasn't found it yet. Compound Chronos, a 4K masterpiece. Coming soon from Massacre Radio.
Did try to get with this one lady, and you know, she was good looking, but she didn't want me. But you know what she did for a nice thing? She tried to hook me up with her ugly best friend. Great care package. Looked like a moose, dressed like a grandma. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm country and all with this voice, but I'm not into all that bestiality and shit.
Massacre Radio. Welcome back. You're listening to Massacre Radio on WKMA Cleveland and HD2 station. My guest today is Bo Daddy Harris. Bo Daddy, I know you heard it there. Coming back from break, I was playing one of your stand-up comedy clips. During your time away from music, what was the biggest lesson that you learned from your years on stage doing comedy that maybe even still influence your performances to this day?
You know, I think about this all the time, you know, from time to time. I think it actually got me ready to get up on stage and sing, you know, just being in the crowd, you know, because you got people in the crowd, they try to heckle you at a comedy event. I had it have to be, it have to other people, whatever. But I think it really got me ready for my stage presence and everything like that. And because that's like I performed this past Friday. I literally had everybody hooked once I set foot on stage. Like, you know, everybody was like, "Oh man, you had Beatles treatment." Even the venue was saying that. It just got me ready to do my music career and everything, and just have to really work the stage, because I watch wrestling, you know, WWE and everything. They always talk about you got to learn the psychology of the square circle, whatever, you know, the ring and everything. And to, you know, move in the match. And so that's part of, you know, doing the performing on stage. You got, you know, what works and what not, you know, had to work the crowd and everything. Because if you know how to work the crowd, you pretty much got them in the palm of your hand.
Now, everyone knows when you're doing stand-up comedy, you kind of even mentioned it there, it comes with hecklers, right? Are there any particular instances you can tell me about where maybe you got into it with a heckler or someone from the crowd was giving you grief, anything like that?
Actually, it was with another talent, and they just, I don't know what was going on with them in their life, whatever, but they just weren't having it, whatever. I had an instance where I performed at an open mic years ago, and some nights, you know, I go in there and the place won't even laugh at your stuff. Even though your stuff works, like you take the same stuff and go down to like a comedy club, right down the street, it works over there. But over there, it was kind of more like all comics and their friends or whatever, and they would only really just laugh at their stuff, but they wouldn't laugh at your stuff. And then, you know, I had a few other instances, but it was all crazy. Most of the time, it just came from other talent, whatever.
I don't know. I feel like they'd be more supportive than that, but that's just me.
Well, you would think.
I know back in the day, maybe some of your family was trying to create drama and trying to get you to stop what you were doing, you know, pursuing your dream of music and comedy. So I guess my question is, Bo Daddy, if you weren't following your heart and focusing on making music and comedy, what do you think you'd be doing otherwise? I mean, what else are you cut out for?
I'd be doing some type of entertainment, you know, because I'm doing like extra role, whatever, in films here and there, but I'll be doing some in entertainment, you know, because I just see myself doing something, you know, in that. You know, I still got folks trying to say, you know, in the family, whatever. Well, you don't need to do all that. You know, you got all these accolades, did all these great things. You know, they just won't be like, well, you need to go get that job, bring in retirement, you know, and that's all they know.
All right, let's switch gears once again here, Bo Daddy Harris. Too Much Soul Records, that was the label that you founded. What can you tell me about that?
I basically want to start something new, like, because around that time when I'm putting it out there, I really want to, well, you have Philadelphia International Records, which I love their whole catalog and everything, and you had Motown, Stax, whatever, and you really don't have like groups like that out there, anymore. You just, because everything changes, whatever. But I was so inspired by listening to all those record labels, catalogs and everything, so I wanted to try to do something like vintage and everything like that.
All right, then I'm going to hit you with my fastball, Bo Daddy Harris. What are some modern music trends that you are not a fan of? Does anything stick out in your mind?
Ooh, I don't think we want to go down this rabbit hole. But like, I'm not really, big fan of this modern stuff because everybody's trying to do what the other person is doing. Like, I don't know how many country songs I heard had the same words in it, like, the same topics, neon lights, going bar, Friday night, the creek, going four-wheeling, whatever, in my truck and everything like that. I said, this is too much. You just got to switch it up because all that stuff gets old, That's just because it worked for somebody don't mean it's going to work for you. You got to be true to yourself.
No, you're exactly right. Nobody wants to be an individual, I guess, is what I'm taking from what you just said.
Oh, yeah. That's like coming back to the songwriting, everything. Freak this, freak that, truck that. I don't know.
Winding things down with my guest, Bo Daddy Harris, on today's program. Look, I know you're a fitness guy, so I wanted to ask you, you like working out. How has your commitment to fitness, Bo Daddy Harris, how has that impacted you both physically and mentally and prepared you for the rigors of live music performances and comedy sets? It's got to give you an edge somewhere. It's got to.
Really, I can't skip a day at the gym. I'm just like an addict because it helped me feel good and everything like that. So, I always, it goes back watching wrestling and everything like that. And, I'm just, I want to be big and strong and everything. And, I just got addicted to it, like for a long time, I couldn't even work out. So it wasn't, because something had to do with doctor or whatever, some crazy, whatever. So I said, oh, well, the growth spurt really ain't had any hit the pinnacle, whatever. So they told me I couldn't work out, but when I got done with all that, they said, you go work out. And I started working out. I ain't never stopped.
Bo Daddy Harris, do you have any parting words for the audience before we wrap this up?
I got a lot of music and I got some blues music. I love blues too. I love listening to Buddy Guy. So I got some blues stuff, some country stuff, and some R&B stuff. So and the new R&B stuff is going to be real good.
I think, for what it's worth, if you had an entire album of that Ride song, it would be immensely popular. I mean, your voice with that vibe is just an instant hit. Just keep pumping it,
Oh, it's very popular down in Texas because it's made by a Texas producer. So, and that was like, it pretty much showed my love to the Texas H-Town music. And they've been grabbing on to that real close and everything. I said, oh, yeah, mission accomplished.
One last thing I wanted to mention before we get you out of here, Bo Daddy Harris. I wanted to congratulate you as being the first and only recipient of the cherished and beloved Members Only Dave Massacre Radio Lifetime Achievement Award. On behalf of Massacre Radio and WKMA Cleveland and HD2 Station, I just wanted to congratulate you on your award and just thank you for all that you do and keep serving your community.
I appreciate everybody in the whole world listening, you know, wherever they're listening to, and whatever you're going through. Hopefully just cheer you up, and, you know, you have a great day and everything, and, you know, do what you love to do at the end of the day.
Bo Daddy Harris, thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Massacre Radio. Thanks again to my guest on today's program, Bo Daddy Harris. Look, I didn't mean to go so hard in the paint on that Pimp C and Zero question, but it's like I said, the history is so rich down there, it's absurd to me to only mention two. But hey, people like what they like, and right now I'd like to end the program. As always, I've been your host, Members Only Dave, and I'll talk at you next week.